up, everyone? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode 400.
We did it.
That's it. We're at the top. Nowhere else to go. Welcome, everyone, to the show. We're very, very excited about tonight's episode. Not only because it's 400 episodes of going live every single week with Ginger Runner Live, but we have a wonderful guest, long overdue. This is going to be a super fun episode. Ryan Van Duzer is going to be joining us on the show today. You might be familiar with him. Amazing content, amazing YouTube creator, endurance cyclist, endurance runner, all things positive and happy. And we just love what Ryan does. And we're so excited to have him on the show today and chat about a lot of things. I feel like there's going to be a lot of topics that we're going to cover, from Bolder Boulder, which he just ran yesterday, to his recent adventures in Mexico and eating burritos live on YouTube. I mean, we're going to cover all the topics. So sit back, relax, everyone. Ginger Runner Live, episode 400 begins now. Ginger Runner. Yeah, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode 400. 400 episodes of going live every single week, talking with wonderful guests from around the world, doing amazing things. And it's kind of crazy to reflect back and think that we've been doing Ginger Runner Live specifically for almost a decade. Not quite, but like 7 years, which if you round up, it's a decade. Pretty much. We also do our daily live stream, which we're almost at 600 episodes of that. Yes. And that's been super fun too. But there's something about Ginger Runner Live that we've been doing now for so long, really pioneering live streaming and talking with guests in real time. So you, our wonderful viewers, can interact and ask questions on the fly. And it's just been a super, super fun experience. And we're just getting started. I mean, tonight's show, we're just getting started.
We are being called out in the chat room. Molly says, yeah, didn't they say they're going to dress up? And Deb Runs Far is asking, no tuxedos tonight?
No tuxedos
tonight. Probably did say we're going to dress up. And to be honest with you, I'm wearing jeans and a button down. So that's pretty good.
I took a shower 10 minutes ago. So, I mean, you're getting the best of us right now. I don't know if we promised that we would be dressing up. We might have joked that we would. We've done it for each of our centennial anniversaries. We've done something special, and tonight our specialness is our guest, because I am very excited to have Ryan Van Duzer on the show.
No pressure.
I mean, no pressure.
But pressure.
But lots of pressure. No, I just think it's going to be a super fun episode. But what we did want to just chat about real quick up front is how thankful we are for this incredible crew, the GR crew that is here every single week to support our Ginger Runner Live episodes, as well as our Daily Brew live streams, everything that we do on the channel. We've really evolved this show, and it's become so much more than we ever anticipated. It's become a place where you can share your experiences with our guests. Our guests can share theirs with yours, but it is this interactive, real-time removal of the fourth wall, so you get a chance to really meet these people who you come to love and become fans of and follow on social media. And we have this really cool platform, and 400 episodes of that is just, it's wonderful. So I do hope that this is just the beginning. We've been doing it now for so many years that it's just ingrained in what we do, and it's part of the trail culture and ultra running and endurance culture. So we're just happy to have you. So thank you if you are watching this live or the archive or listening on the podcast. Before we introduce our wonderful guests, we do have to mention the fact that we are live, right, Kim?
You don't think we had this like nailed by episode 400, but every time it's a little clunky and it's a little different. Yes, we are live. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, pop into the chat and say hi. I will be in there throughout the show. And if you have questions for our wonderful guest, Ryan, please ask them in there. A lot of questions already rolling in.
Yeah, and if you are a GR crew member, make sure you ask your questions on Discord as well. We get those in advance, and we get to field them and get them directly to the guest as well. Speaking of GR crew, it is because of them that we're able to do this show, our daily live stream, all of our reviews, all of our films. We have a lot of really fun stuff coming up in the coming maybe 2 or 3 months, some really fun content, and it is all due in part because the GR crew is there to support us and support one another. If you would like to join the GR crew, it's very easy. Just head on over to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. All tiers get access to some fun perks, including tonight's after show, special after show, because it is 400 episodes. A wonderful GR crew member, Jean-Yves, put together a fun video. We have not watched it. We don't know anything that's in it other than we have to show it during the after show.
Correct.
So if you are a GR crew member, you get to see what this video is all about. If you are not, I mean, if that doesn't just dangle the carrot for you to join, in addition to the fact that you get to support everything that we do here, and you get an amazing opportunity to join a crew from around the world of runners just like yourself, going through the same things you're going through, there to support you as well. One individual in particular at that top tier on Patreon, we mentioned at the top of every Ginger Runner Live episode, he's a super special friend. Brian Sands, a wonderful human being, really talented runner, started running at the age of 50, ran his first marathon, lost more than 100 pounds in his journey. He's just a really special guy. We're so thankful to have him as a member of the community as well. And finally, we do have a sponsor for the next handful of podcasts. It is OnX Backcountry. We're so thankful to have them on board. They were a huge sponsor for Tiger Claw as well by providing all of our podium prize money for all of our winners for both the Tiger Claw 25 miler and Tiger Claw 50 miler. They're a great app that does mapping and they track your activities as well. I was just using it the other day, making a cool video with them in the coming month. But it's really cool because you can see the 3D maps of where you're running. You can figure out angle of slope. You can kind of figure out which trails are more difficult and which trails you want to run on any given route. So it's a wonderful app, and there is a link in the description that will give you an additional 20% off the annual subscription because you are here, because you are a Ginger Runner viewer. So we're thankful for them for that. Shout out to OnX. Without further ado, our wonderful guest has been waiting patiently, running out of oxygen in the back room, not maybe his back room, but we are so thankful to have the one and only Ryan Van Duzer.
Yay!
I'm psyched to be here.
First
Does
of
my
all,
voice sound sexy? I got a new microphone.
we were commenting before the show. Ryan's like, I got to plug in this microphone, and we hear his voice through his computer audio. And then we hear it through the microphone. And Ryan, can you give us a sample of this delicious, deep, sultry radio voice?
So usually I sound like this.
And then I plugged in the microphone. And this is what you get, ladies and gentlemen. Come to the after show.
It's so much better. It's so much better.
So much better. Everybody, buy a $50 mic. It makes everything better.
The before voice, I mean, it's fine. I really like the after voice, though, Ryan.
Thank you. I'm so psyched to be here. Really, it's an honor. I have been watching your channel since it started. I remember years ago, somebody's like, hey, there's this guy, Ginger Runner. He does shoe review stuff. This is a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see where your channel has gone and the crew that you have assembled, an army. I went to Javelina my first year, and there was an entire tent full of your people. And I was like, oh, man, this guy's built quite a community. So I'm excited to be here.
It's long overdue. I'll be totally honest. Long overdue having you on the show because you have been a cornerstone in the endurance, both content creation, but just also like voice in the sport. And I know that we share running and a passion for running, of course, but you've also really explored endurance cycling, and I get inspired by that because I started my endurance journey on a bike. So for me, like cycling is where my roots sort of are, but running, of course, is where my passion is, and I love running. But I found your channel a long time ago as well. I also want to commend you. We'll just start with this. 150,000+ subscribers on your channel. You just reached 100,000. You're already 150,000. That is a huge milestone. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your plaque? Did you get your plaque?
Oh, yeah, it's downstairs. But I got my plaque. I'm excited about it. Really, like you, YouTube is a labor of love. Yeah. When I started this channel, I didn't know where it would go. I hoped that I could build up a channel this big. I never dreamed it would actually happen. And after, 4 or 5 years, my channel still wasn't really that big. It's only been in the last couple years that I've shot up. So it's just been an absolute grind, but I love it. I get to share my passions with the world. I get to put things out into the world that I feel bring value to my viewers. I get to interact with people, and it's a dream job.
I couldn't agree more. And I feel like I could get into the weeds with you on this because I feel we share sort of a connection in the joy of the content that we make. Like I sort of have looked at my journey on YouTube and purposefully shied away from kind of like clickbaity style content or stuff that I know is going to generate views or I don't want to say go viral because you can never really predict that, but I've created content that I wanted to create because I felt passionate about it and I knew that people would enjoy it, even if they found it or not. And I get that. This is one thing I really love about like creators like Kofuzi and yourself, where you're creating content that means something. It has value beyond just viewability, you know, like there's something deeper in it. So I hope you're cool if we dig into that in a little bit, because I feel like there's a lot that we can talk about. I want to
cover everything.
We're going to do it.
It's a 5-hour
We're going to go all
show.
night. We should do a marathon till midnight.
I'm just going to turn the camera around, put it on the treadmill. I'll run a marathon during this. I do not want to say that.
That's a good idea.
This is turning out to be a really great
400
episode show.
What have I got myself into? Let's start with the Bolder Boulder.
Oh, the Bolder Boulder was amazing.
So tell me about this, man, because I didn't grow up in Boulder. I don't know much about the race, but this last week I found out more about it, and it seems amazing, man.
First of all, it's my favorite day of the year. It's my Christmas morning. I started running this race when I was 6, and I was just a little dude. And back then the Bolder Boulder was big, but it's not as big as it is now. And it's the race that really inspired me to run and to be competitive and to just get outside and train and be athletic. And in the actual event is just amazing. It shows the best of Boulder. All the people come out onto the streets, and there's live music and there's slip and slides and all sorts of goofy stuff, and a guy that throws tater tots at people. And it's just, I love Boulder with all of my heart. I'm born and raised in this town. I love this town. Bolder Boulder is a major reason for that. It's such a great outpouring of community love. And, you know, this town's 100,000 people, so it's not a giant city like, you know, San Francisco with the Beta Breakers or Peachtree in Atlanta. It's a pretty small town to have a giant 50,000 person 10K. And, you know, I love the pro races. When I was a little kid, my heroes weren't football players. They were pro runners, you know, Rosa Mota, Arturo Barrios, a lot of names that people don't really know from the mid 80s, but were some of the best in the world. Frank Shorter started the Bolder Boulder. It was his dream. He was one of the fathers of American long distance running. And he lived here and wanted to create something, and bam. I mean, I can talk about the Bolder Boulder all day, and I love it.
It's one of those races where you can tell that the community, that is the reason it is what it is, right?
They're all in.
Everyone's in. You can't have a successful race like that without every member of the community being a part of it, right? Yeah. Has it always been that way? Because when was your first run of it? How old were you?
I was 6, so 1985.
Okay. Oh yeah, we are
back then. As a little kid, it seemed as big as it is now, but I think it was probably only 15 or 20,000 people.
Right.
And another cool thing about the Bolder Boulder is it finishes inside of the University of Colorado Stadium. So when you get to the stadium, which is hard, you have to like go up a hill, but it's the final mile. And you get into that stadium and it's like boom, and everybody's cheering and making noise. And it feels like you're in the Olympics, no matter how fast you're going.
So that's what I learned this weekend about it. And that was one of those things, as soon as I learned that, I went, how is this not done elsewhere? So explain how Boulder is different based off of start and elites and stuff like that, because this is super special.
So the Bolder Boulder created the idea of the wave start. So it's not like the gun goes off and everybody runs. They have a wave start from A to Z, and it's all qualifying times. And there's a lot of walking waves toward the end for people who don't want to run. They really want to make this race, you know, approachable for every age and ability. So you don't have to be fast to do the Bolder Boulder. And everybody runs the race, fills up the stadium, you know, maybe about 45, 50,000 people. And then the elite races start. And so everybody in the stadium is watching on the Jumbotron all the action that's happening. We know that they're coming toward the stadium, and the announcers are really good at getting everybody hyped. It's usually Frank Shorter and somebody else. And then when they hit the stadium, the crowd goes nuts, no matter who's in front. It doesn't matter if it's USA or Kenya or Ethiopia. Like, the crowd goes nuts for whoever's winning. And it's a fun moment.
The footage that I saw from the finish was, I think, what sort of melted my brain a little bit, because it was a full stadium. I mean, it's the full-on football stadium, every seat full. And I was like, oh, this is fake, like computer generated or something, because I'm like, no finish line has a stadium full of people waiting for like a 10K.
So cynical.
I mean, my head is gone. This is all special effects.
They just copy paste that crowd.
Yeah, look, I see a red shirt and a white shirt, and they just copied and pasted.
Boulder's a nerdy town. We love runners, man.
It's so cool.
There's more people in the stadium for that than the football games.
That's what it felt like. It felt like back of the Packers, or anyone who's maybe taken those extra minutes that they might need to finish that thing. is getting this injection of energy, because I imagine you could hear the noise before you see the noise, and then that finish line is otherworldly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like everybody is cheering you on personally. And you it's amazing to see people hit the stadium who probably walked most of the race, and then they sprint as fast as they can, you know? And it's just a fun moment. And I've been doing it since I was 6. So I've done it more than 30 times. And for me, it really is, it's just a beautiful moment of the community coming together, the running community. You know, Boulder is beautiful in general, the mountains, and it's just, it just feels so good.
What is the rest of the course like? So as far as the course is concerned, are there spectators, multiple deep on either sides of the whole thing?
Yeah. So like I said, if you're not running the Bolder Boulder, you're probably cheering on, along the course. It goes through neighborhoods, and, people are jumping in kiddie pools and slip and slides, and there's bands everywhere. There's music all over the place, and it's just, there's belly dancers. They're pretty famous. They've been doing it ever since I was a kid. There's a couple troops of belly dancers out there, and, cheerleaders, everything. It's a party. It's like what you would see at the Boston Marathon or something.
That sounds amazing. I am also curious, Ryan, if you have partaken in the belly dancing portion of it for any year that maybe you haven't run.
Well, so a lot of times I do media for the Bolder Boulder. So I'll run the race because I like going fast and challenging myself. And I'm in the A wave, so I'm done pretty early. So then I go back, grab a camera crew, and then we go through the course and we do all the fun stuff. And so, of course, slip and slides, belly dancing, back when I drank alcohol, all the kegs and the drinking and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, you end up doing all of the stuff that you purposefully missed on the first wave, right?
Exactly, yeah.
How did this year compare? Because obviously we're coming out of what I imagine has been a pretty tough couple of years, especially in Boulder, and the community and stuff like that probably needed an event like this and looking forward to something like this. So how was this year special or different?
This year was a little bit different because of the 2-year break, especially, for me personally. The Bolder Boulder is a big part of my life. I've had nightmares about waking up late and missing the Bolder Boulder. Like it's just deeply ingrained in my brain. And so the last 2 years, it was like our community's missing our heart and soul. And this year, it felt good. Even like leading up to it, the helicopters are doing their practice runs the day before. There's a little bit of buzz in town. People from all over are here. It just has this feeling like, oh yeah, something big's about to happen. Like we're back, we're doing it. And then the race, it felt great. It felt better than ever. Maybe the energy was even more off the hook than normal. The registrations were lower, I think, just because people might still be spooked from COVID and whatever else. But it felt great. It really did.
Yeah. The like footage and media and stuff that we've seen from the race, it felt like it was back. Like it felt, you could feel the energy through the content that we were sort of consuming from afar. And it just looks super special. And again, this was sort of the first time. I mean, I've had friends run Bolder Boulder many times in the past. And to me, I was just like, oh yeah, Bolder Boulder. That must be a pretty cool 10K in Boulder. It felt like Beta Breakers was a thing that I'm familiar with, but I've never run.
Yeah.
But this year, for some reason, I was just like, holy crap, how's this been off my radar? How did I now learn about the finish line and all this really cool stuff and all the media? So I don't know. I'm all in on it. Right.
Well, how about you bring your crew out next year? We'll have a big thing. We'll all run the Bolder Boulder and we'll have a barbecue afterwards. How's that sound?
I mean,
that sounds great.
It sounds great.
All right, GR crew.
But no.
No, we'll totally do it. I know we have a huge GR crew contingent in Colorado, and
yeah, and we do have Kelly in the chat says, I just ran the Bolder Boulder for the first time yesterday, and it was a blast. Sounds like it. And a lot of people are all in after you mentioned tater tots also.
Yeah, people are sold on tater tots. Yeah, Egan in the chat says it looked like a true celebration of running. Couldn't agree more. We have tons of live questions already for you, Ryan. So Kim, take it away.
Yeah, a question from Andrea in the chat. Andrea asked, Ryan, did you actually run the race twice? Once on your own, but also guiding another runner? How did you get involved with that?
Yes. So I ran the race. I always run the race. I train for it. I like to go as fast as I can. When I was a little kid, I was a much more competitive runner. And so it's still in my blood to want to go fast. So I do it fast. And then usually I do it again in some way, shape, or form. Either I'm doing media or something. This year, I ran with an athlete from the Achilles International Program. And I had run with this young man before. He's actually 18 now. and he has cerebral palsy, and he's in a wheelchair, and he has like crutches. And so and along with a few others, Amelia Boone was one of them on our crew, my girlfriend. Ooh.
I believe we have Amelia in the chat room right
Amelia
now.
is in the chat right now, and I don't know if she's there, Ryan, but if she wants to come in and go ooh into the camera, of course she's welcome to do that.
No, she's not here. She's in Golden. And yeah, so we ran the race. we ran the race together with this athlete, and it was really inspiring to see him because it's hard for him. Like, he's in these crutches, and he's moving really slow, and everybody's cheering him on because it's such an inspirational scene to see this young athlete really, overcoming the odds. He's done the Bolder Boulder before. And, when he would get tired, we'd put him into the wheelchair and push him for a bit. And then he'd be like, all right, I want out. And he'd, charge down the course for a little bit. Everybody would go wild. It was pretty special.
It looked special. And I love that you do this, Ryan. I love that you not only, I guess the best way to phrase it is you get to enjoy it. You get to enjoy Bolder Boulder because you've obviously been a part of it for so long. So you get to take a moment to enjoy it for yourself, but you give back. And so not only you describing going back and doing media for it, of course, that's still fun and all that sort of stuff, but you are still giving back to those who maybe don't get to be there and run. But then also going back and running with others who have pacers or groups or need to finish or want to finish. And I think that's a huge testament to your character. And that's another real great reason why we're so thankful to have you on the show today, because I want to talk a bit about that and a bit about your content and what you create on YouTube and how that does speak to so many people in such a great way. Randy here in the chat, I'll just mention this comment. I think you've just pulled it, right?
Yeah, I just pulled it.
Oops, let's do this one. Randy in the chat says, Ryan, you not only show the good stuff on your videos, but the bad stuff also. How hard is it to tell your personal stuff, even if it is not good?
Yeah, so I've always wanted my channel to be just a piece of me in my life, not just focusing on one sport or one aspect of my life. I don't want it to show the triumphant moments, but I want to show what my life is all about. And it's, a lot of times I am high and I'm excited and I'm running or biking and life is perfect. But I've talked about all sorts of difficult things on my channel because I think it's important for people to get to know me. And so I've talked about the reasons why I quit drinking alcohol. I've talked about heartbreak. I talk about political things that bug me that are going on in the world and current events. And I think it's important just for me. I mean, I'm not saying that every creator has to do this, but for me to really just speak from my heart. And I think it helps my audience to relate to me as just a regular person, not just some, guy that goes riding his bike thousands of miles and does ultra marathons. But yeah, there's a little bit more to this guy. And so, sometimes people don't like that. I get lots of comments about, stay in your lane. I come to your channel to watch running videos or biking videos. I want to hear about your political opinions or whatever. And I realize that, there's a consequence to speaking my mind, but that's the beauty of YouTube. I used to work for Travel Channel and other networks where I couldn't speak my mind. It was just read the teleprompter and be a jolly adventure TV host guy. But now with YouTube, I can talk about these things. And I feel like for me, it's important to bring up these issues with an audience. And it helps me process things. And I think it helps bring up other ideas for my viewers as well.
I was going to talk about background in broadcast because I have a history in broadcast as well. I was a host for many, many years. Loved the cycle of the LA grind. And did you spend time in Los Angeles, or were you able to travel and do most of your broadcasting wherever you needed to?
Yeah. So my dream was to be a Travel Channel TV host. So I never really needed to live in the LA or New York. And I got a degree in broadcast journalism, which essentially teaches you how to be a local news anchor. I realized very quickly that that's not what I wanted to do. I did an internship at the NBC station in Denver, and as exciting as it was, I really didn't like it. Local news to me is depressing and scary. And there's a saying, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
And I realized after a 4-month internship that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to create happy news, inspirational news. I wanted to travel the world and share interesting stories. So when I graduated from college, I actually joined the Peace Corps, and I lived in Honduras for 2 years. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And when I finished my service after 2 years, I decided to trade in my plane ticket, use that money to buy a bicycle and ride home. And the reason why I wanted to do that was A, go on a fantastic adventure, but B, I wanted to really process what I had done for those 2 years and also think toward the future. This was the first time in my life, I was 25 years old, where I didn't have my next step set up for me. You know, we grow up, we go, middle school, high school, college, like, we know what's happening. This is the first time I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. So I'm going to sit on my bike for 8 hours a day for 4,000 miles and figure it out. And that's what I did. And that really is what launched my career. I filmed the whole adventure on my little Sony Handycam. I interviewed everybody I met along the way. And I made a video when I got home, and it actually played on the Travel Channel. And so from that moment on, I was like, okay, I want to travel the world and be like a Travel Channel TV host guy and share inspirational stories. And that's kind of how it all started.
It's amazing the paths that we can create for ourselves, because I think when I was in college, it was pretty similar path. Like it was a communications degree and with an emphasis in broadcast. And it was one of those things where like, I don't like this. Like I know where I'm going, and that's not where I want to end up. And so to try to change your path and find your path, it takes a bit of confidence and a bit of I don't know, a faith that whatever comes is going to be the right choice, I guess, and like that it will all work out. But I love where this is taking you, because now, do you look back and are you thankful for the Travel Channel type experience? Are you still thinking about that in the future, or have you managed to create and find your own niche that is self-sustaining? Like, is this channel what you've dreamed of?
This is my dream job. This is better than anything I ever did in the TV world. I've often joked, if I got a call today from a producer at Travel Channel and said, you can either have a national show on the Travel Channel or your YouTube channel, I would pick my YouTube channel all day long. I don't want to go back to the TV world. You can't interact with the audience nearly as well as you can through YouTube. You don't have the freedom that you do on YouTube. When I did stuff for Travel Channel, it was exciting. I was on national TV, but between shooting an episode and it actually seeing daylight on TV, there's 10 editors that get hold of it and they dumb it down because they don't want it to be edgy or too energetic. And they just kind of muffled who I am as a human. And I'm like, well, this is dumb. And I watch the stuff on TV. I'm like, anybody could do what I'm doing. It's just some guy who's good at memorizing lines. And so, it's exciting, and I did my time, and I'm grateful that I figured out what I don't want to do. But YouTube is the best thing to ever happen to me. Even though I created it, I feel like it still happened to me.
Man, I'm just finding myself like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little inside baseball, and Kim and I have never chatted about this, but I think it makes sense to bring it up now. But early in the Ginger Runner days, we were approached by a production company to create I
was like, what are we talking about?
We've since blacked this out because it's just so long ago. But we were approached by a production company to put together a pitch package because they had Travel Channel and other channels needing content exactly like that, like travel-based running type thing. And they had this whole pitch thing, and we put together this huge pitch deck and a package, and it was one of those things that as we were putting it together, it was like, oh yeah, broadcast, like TV, like this is the dream, right? And when we saw the sort of edit of okay, we're going to send this to all the networks and stuff, and there were bites on it, but we looked at it and was like, that's not us.
That's not us. Yeah.
That's not us at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what we want to do. We left that behind us. And it was one of those things that I don't regret it for a second. In the moment you're like, oh, I just turned down a huge TV gig. But the reality is, I think we found something better. And I love hearing you say that, because there is so much more potential here, right?
This is way better. And another thing with the TV world, when you and I'm guessing is my age or something, when we went to broadcast school, the only way to broadcast yourself was on radio or TV, really. There was no YouTube. It wasn't until later on that the internet really created the possibility of having YouTube and other, streaming services like this. And I love it. And it all comes down to freedom. It comes down to, I get to tell the stories that I want to tell, not my producer wants me to tell or something else. It's like, I can dream up anything I want to do and I can make it happen.
And I think that kind of goes back to Randy's question about, talking about the good things and the bad things. That allows you to be as honest as you want to be and talk about those, the tough parts as well as the successes. And I think that's important to your story, and that's what makes your channel so wonderful. We have tons of live questions. I want to make sure we get to as many as possible. Take it away.
So a question from Heather, just in regards to content creation. Heather asked, after taking time off due to burnout, are you planning on taking a hiatus again later as a preventative maintenance?
Good question. So she's referring to some content I made in January where I talked about pretty honestly and earnestly with my audience that I was just feeling worn out. I've been doing YouTube for 7 years now, about 70 videos a year, high production value, tons of work. You guys know all about this. And I was just feeling toasted, and I wasn't feeling creative, and physically I also was just tired, because it's daunting to be like, okay, what's my next adventure? What's my next adventure? Like when I was 25, it was exciting to constantly be traveling. I would travel 200 days a year. But now I'm 43 and I'm like, I want to take it easy. I want to chill out. And so it was a mix of all these different things. And I was really feeling like I need a break. And great question, but I'm feeling much better now. I feel like I've taken a lot of this spring and early summer off. I mean, I'm still creating content, but I only traveled once to Mexico. And it's been really good just to ground myself and spend time with my family and my friends and my community and not be on the road all the time and allow myself the time to really fall in love. Because a lot of people will come to me like, wow, your life is amazing. You like live this Indiana Jones adventure life. And I'm like, yes, it is amazing. And I love almost all the aspects of it. But one of the big consequences is I've never really had a long relationship ever, because it's impossible to be with somebody if you're gone all the time. And so that was always my line, is like, yeah, it's very cool, but I barely had any girlfriends. And, I would love to fall in love someday. And that is exactly what happened in early January. I'm feeling burned out. And then all of a sudden, la, 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 Amelia comes my way. And it's been magical.
Kim and I spent a majority of our relationship 3,000 miles apart. We've talked about it many times on the show, so we don't have to dive into it. But it wasn't until like 2015, when we were relocated to the same location, that we gave ourselves that opportunity to like really embrace love, because a long distance relationship allowed us to pursue our individual careers, and it was fulfilling in its way. But when it was kind of bringing that together and allowing ourselves that freedom to go, oh, let's allow ourselves to be together, everything snowballed, and it changed everything for the better. We're so happy for you, Ryan, because I know, and we're happy for Amelia too. Yeah, she can be happy too. But yeah, no, it really is wonderful just seeing all the posts and everything you guys are, and the dogs. Oh my God, come on. Yeah, the dogs are great.
She loves the dogs, and now I love the dogs because she loves the dogs, and it's been really fun. It's amazing. It's the best thing to ever happen to me, for sure.
It's the best adventure. Am I right?
There you
go. Maybe some more live questions.
Yeah, question from Brian in the chat. Brian says,
Brian Sands?
This is a different Brian.
I love
Brian Sands. Was in the chat earlier.
Brian Sands is in the chat.
Okay, I love you, Brian.
This is from Brian Fagundes, and Brian asks, through all of your adventures and interactions with cultures and landscapes across the globe, is there a lesson that life just keeps teaching you?
Yeah, I say to everybody a lot on my channel, I love the adventures. I love pushing my body. I love seeing beautiful places and landscapes and sunrises and sunsets and double rainbows. But it's the people I meet on my adventures that really make everything special. And I've met people all over the planet that are just so sweet and generous, and they invite me into their homes, and that, I might eat a meal with them and like spend the night in their backyard and play with their kids and have all this magical experience. And so I always come back to that, and it makes the world feel a lot friendlier and nicer. Whenever I'm traveling, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm reading all this scary news, and of course there's scary things going on, but when I get on my bike and ride around wherever I am, from Kansas to Kathmandu, I'm like, there's humanity is still out there, and humanity is still good. And 99.99% of the people on this planet are just kind and caring and loving, and that's who I meet on my adventures. And I love sharing those stories with my audience as well. So I'm not the only one having this moment. I'm also sharing it. And I think my audience loves seeing that, because it does make them feel better about the world. I get comments from people outside of the United States who will say, you know, I see one thing on the news about your country and it's a little spooky and dark. And then I watch your videos and I feel a lot better about the United States and or Mexico. Cause you know, Mexico, same thing. Like, oh, it's dangerous narco land. And then I go to Mexico and hang out with all these wonderful people and show them on my channel. And if people are like, oh, wow, this is not as scary as I thought it was.
Yeah.
So really, it's the people, it's the connections for sure.
And I mean, that just translates so easily through your videos. And I think that's something that doesn't translate so much in broadcast, right? So like watching a travel show on any given network, right? You might see some of that. You might see some of that just intimacy, I guess, between strangers in foreign places. But there's something about watching it on YouTube that kind of peels away that, I don't want to say professionalism because your videos are clearly very professional, but it peels away that like the pomp and circumstance of a broadcast.
Or like the structure
show.
of a broadcast,
Totally.
or the going through multiple filters of a broadcast. I think like the one exception would be like an Anthony Bourdain type person.
Perfect example.
You know?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot of the viewers out there that don't know how TV is made, all of those situations that you see when a host is talking to a local, they're pre-produced. It's all set up. The person that they're interviewing has probably had 2 days to think about how they're going to be on camera. They have lights, they have giant cameras. It just completely changes the situation. And so I don't think you really get the most genuine moments. When you and I meet people with YouTube, we have small cameras. They're not intimidating. People aren't really changing their vibe. Sometimes they don't even, you know, you put the camera over here so they don't really know that there is even a camera on them. And you can capture a lot more of these intimate moments.
Yeah. It peels away that, you know, the walls that people put up. And you're right. Like taking a GoPro and using that is suddenly more intimate. It just brings the audience right there. And whoever you're having a conversation with, you're right. They ignore the fact that there might be a camera there and they're actually talking to you as though they would, knowing you. And it's a wonderful way of sort of showing the world and bringing people into that world. And I mean, dude, that's a testament to the success of the channel too. Clearly people like that type of content and they love what you do and how you do it. Maybe get to a couple more live questions.
Yeah, a question from Deb in the chat just now. And Deb asked, Ryan, what are your inspirations for your various adventures?
Well, you know, I have like a list of things that I want to do on planet Earth. And, you know, I slowly do some of them and check them off the list. But, you know, I'll read about a place maybe and be like, oh, wow, that sounds really interesting. I want to go there. Or even a viewer can be like, hey, my town is awesome. You should come here. So I'm very open-minded about where I go. And, you know, Ragbri in Iowa is one of those examples where I had no idea about this big event called Ragbri, where 20,000 people ride bikes across the state of Iowa. You know, initially I'm like, riding bikes in Iowa in July, that sounds stupid. That sounds hot and boring and cornfields. Like, I don't want to do that. But again, Ragbri is a magical experience because of the people. It's kind of Bolder Boulder-ish. Everybody embraces this event in the state. And there's bake sales and pie and little kid fundraisers for the Cub Scouts and just like slip and slides and bands everywhere. And it's super fun. And so I get inspiration from all sorts of different places, but a lot of times just talking to people.
Ragbri is one of those things that I had no idea about until this last year as well. I think I have a couple more friends in the cycling world as I try to dive more into gravel biking. But Ragbri was brought to my attention and I started following the maps and like looking at where it goes. And in July, I'm going, who wants to ride this area in this time frame at that time of year? But it looks incredible. And it looks super tough. I mean, hot and sweaty and everyone just gets filthy, but it looks rad.
It's so fun. It's about 450 miles. You have 7 days to do it. And it's a giant parade. That's what it is. You're riding with thousands of people all day long. You can stop whenever you want. It's not a race. You might go by a farmhouse that's having, you know, goat races. And this is a thing. And you stop and you check out the goat races. And they're like, hey, we just made homemade ice cream. Come check it out. And it's just like you have these magical moments like every 30 minutes for 7 days in a row. And it's mind blowing. And then you come home and you're like, wow, we're in good hands. Like everything's going to be okay in the United States.
Yeah. A lot of RAGBRAI fans in the chat here. Brian Sands, it's so fun to see people coming through Iowa during RAGBRAI. Darling Runner PT, I lived in Iowa for 2 years, loved it. They are such friendly people. And Debs Runs Far says, I've had RAGBRAI on my bucket list as well. So yeah, a lot of RAGBRAI fans here, which is pretty exciting.
Maybe we could run it one year.
Can we? 450 miles?
I did once see a runner doing it, but you'd have to essentially run through the night because some of the days are like 70, 80 miles. So
yikes. Yeah. I mean, how many days do they have it? Like 6 days?
7 days.
7 days? I mean, that's right on that. That's a tough one. That's a toughie.
Yeah.
But all right, let's do it.
How about rollerblading? We can rollerblade it.
There we go. That's so funny. I feel like I was just thinking about getting a set of rollerblades maybe like 2 weeks ago or something. I saw some gravel blades. No, I don't think it'll work. Before we sort of wrap up the show and do quickie question quiz, because of course we have to do that with Duzer today. I did want to talk about the challenges. So obviously being an online content creator poses its challenges. We talk about the grind. You talked about burnout, and I am so appreciative of the conversation around burnout. It's one of the reasons why when I started Ginger Runner, we restricted ourselves to only a certain amount of content every week, because I have gone down the path of, trying to do too much, trying to be a daily vlogger, that sort of thing. And it ends up leading to ultimate demise for creators. Can you speak to the challenges that you've had to sort of endure and push through with your YouTube channel, and how you've sort of overcome those as a creator?
Yeah. So when I decided to leave the TV world after, shooting endless pilots and them never seeing the light of day and being heartbroken over and over and over, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to build up my channel on YouTube. And I started making videos and putting my heart and soul into all this content and editing videos that are as good as my videos are today. And I'd put them out there and I'd be like, sweet, published, the world's going to love this. And it would get like 47 views. And oh man, okay, well, I got to stick with it. Then the next week, make another video and it might get, 52 views. And it went like that for a very long time. My channel didn't catch on for a while. And then you thinking, is this sustainable? Should I stick with this? Should I get a real job? I need like some constant money. At this time, I'm getting like $17 paychecks from Google AdSense every month. Definitely no Patreon, no sponsors. And I'm also at this point like 37 years old. So I'm like, okay, I'm not like 23. This is not an internship for me. I need to like actually make a living.
Right.
And I kept with the grind and kept doing it and doing it and doing it and slowly building up my channel. And that was hard because even today, I second guess myself all the time. I'm like, can I keep doing this? Is this something that is for real? Can I do this till I'm 55 years old, 60, however long? Because when I first started doing this, like YouTube skewed very young. It was like mostly for kids. And I was like, maybe I'm too old for YouTube. So I was constantly in my head wondering if what I was doing would ever catch on. But the community started building, and I've always been very interactive with my audience. I try to respond to every single question because I want people to know when they reach out to me, I will help them out if they have a question or whatever. And so that helps too, because people are like, okay, Ryan's cool. Like he actually responds to us. And by year 2 or 3, I think I got to like 10,000 subscribers, which is cool. 10,000 is a pretty big number, but still you're not making a living at all with 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And so that's been tough, but lately in the last, since the pandemic, really, my channel has turned into something that actually pays me a living wage, and it's exciting. And it took a long time to get here, but yeah, the grind is real, and you're constantly thinking, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Right.
And that can be tough. And I'm sure you can relate.
It's as we, we are around the same age. I was born in the 80s. I'll say that. early
89.
I was born in 79. What?
Yeah. I mean, we're 10 years off. That's not true. 2 years off. So we're around that same age, and I've been having a lot of that sort of introspective discussions within myself of like, I mean, I don't consider 40 old. I don't consider 42 old. 45, 6, anything over 60, I don't consider old. Right? Like, it's all relative. That being said, I'm like, am I going to be doing this when I'm 55? Am I going to be doing this when I'm 60? Like, what are the things that I do want to do? And of course, I love creating content. I want to be doing it forever. What are those discussions like in your head? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, or the channel?
Yeah. I think I'm still going through it to a degree. I'm like, okay, I've traveled the world. I've ridden my bike all over the place. I've done ultra marathons. I feel like I'm telling the same story over and over and over. And my formula for my videos is pretty similar. I ride my bike, I get the drone out, I meet some people, I interview them, I smush it all together, make a nice piece. And on my end, I feel like, I'm just not, I don't have that spark, that creative spark. But my viewers, they're seeing something new every time. They're seeing new people, new landscapes. And to them, it's exciting and new. At least I hope it is. And they've told me it is. But still, on my end, I'm like, are you guys really liking this? Or are you just being nice? So where am I going to be in 5-10 years? I don't know. I've always been a storyteller. I would love to keep on telling stories in some way, shape, or form. I just wrote a book that will be out later this year about my very first adventure, my ride home from Honduras. I love doing motivational talks to school kids and getting kids pumped up to follow their dreams. So, I don't know exactly what it'll be, but it'll be something similar.
I love it. Maybe get to one more question there, and then we'll do quickie question quiz.
Sure. A question from Chuck. Chuck asks, Ryan, given all that you have done in the past, what one event is on your bucket list?
Ooh, what one event? Man, I'd love to do a marathon in like a really cool location, like Tahiti or something, like go to like some beautiful tropical place. I love the idea of a UTMB in France or something like that. As far as bike events, I mean, there's so many amazing bike events around the world. Man, it's endless. I'm going to do Leadville again this year, so I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's also nice to look at them all as tax breaks too. You can travel to some pretty amazing destinations and write it off.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that, whatever it turns out to be. But also, Ryan, you continue to change YouTube. Like, you continue to sort of change what people want to see and how people see it, and you're sharing stories that need to be shared, and you're the way you talk openly and honestly about your journey, about from when you started and the path that you've chosen because of your youth and where you came from. These are all super important stories that people can relate to, are drawn to. And man, as a content creator, I can really appreciate what you're doing, and you are like no other. So Ryan Van Duzer, we really appreciate you being on the show, but also doing everything that you're doing on YouTube. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, my man. That really means a lot, especially coming from you two. And it just feels good to be part of this YouTube community. When we do meet in real life someday, it's going to be a really magical moment. There's going to be lots of hugs, and it's going to be great.
Little GoPros hidden in places, and
exactly. GoPros and drones, and we're both going to unleash like all of our cameras.
Ryan, I've had 17 GoPros filming you this whole time. Get up off the slip and slide and eat these tater tots.
Yeah. I want to come do the tiger claw.
I mean, I was just going to say there has been little tickling of the ivories that you might be maybe interested in coming to our neck of the woods, perhaps.
I would love to.
We'll make it happen. Whatever it takes to make it happen, we'll make it happen. Good. And there's also rumors that Kofuzi may want to join as a result of Ryan being here, not us. Kofuzi doesn't want to come see us or hang out with us. He wants to come for Ryan. I'm like, I'd go to see Ryan too. Yeah, me neither.
He's a great guy.
Next year is going to be insane. I'm not saying that just to promote our own event. It's just next year is going to be nuts. It's going to be super great, and we would love to have you.
Good deal. I'll just commit to it right now. How's that?
That's perfect. I will also commit to it, but I'll also commit to Bolder Boulder, because a part of me is like, we'll do it. We'll commit 1-to-1, and Bolder Boulder
best
looks
May
insane.
Ever. We do the Tiger Claw, and then we do the Bolder Boulder.
There you go.
All of our videos that month will be called Best May Ever. Ginger and Duzer. And we'll just have some like super fun content. Oh my God, this is already.
Are you writing notes in your phone? Best May ever.
Best May. Do not forget.
Yeah.
Don't forget next May. I'm actually writing down ingredients for burritos, because we also talked before the show about doing a live burrito eat. We'll have to do that. The reason I did pull out my phone is because we have a segment on the show that we do with first-time guests. It's called our Quickie Question Quiz. It is a very easy rapid fire series of questions. You just have to answer with the first thing that comes to your brain.
Burritos.
You won.
I think he passed.
You did it.
I win.
Because that is the answer to all the questions. What is it called when you take a tortilla, insert rice, beans, cheese, vegetables, meats, and wrap it? It's a rapid fire series of questions. You let me know when you're ready by just giving me the thumbs up, and we'll just rip on through. Quickie questions. Boom. Here we go. What was your very first race?
Bolder Boulder.
Favorite place to run currently?
Right outside my door in the foothills of Boulder.
I'm gonna change this question a little bit for Ryan's purpose, but road, trails, or bike? Which do you prefer?
Oh, damn, dirt. Any dirt. So dirt bike, running, dirt.
Bucket list race?
Boston Marathon.
Favorite running movie?
Oh, man. That one about Pre. I don't know what it's called.
I think it's called Pre.
Okay, there we go.
I'm excited for the answer for this. Guilty pleasure TV show.
Oh, man. I am really loving Love on the Spectrum right now.
Yes.
We just finished the US season. It's so good. It's so pure.
So good. And it makes me feel better about the world. You know, it's been a tough, dark, heavy week. I watched that show. And again, it's kind of like what I'm talking about when I connect with humans around the world. You see the goodness of people deep down, and that show does a great job of it.
Sabad. It's so great.
So good.
Favorite pre-race meal?
Oh, man. Burritos. Breakfast burritos.
Favorite post-race meal?
Dinner burritos.
Dinner burritos. The fancy dinner burritos that I put on a plate, actually.
And finally, what are your current running kicks? What shoes are you rocking the most these days?
I've been wearing the Hoka Speed Goats for a long time, but I just got the Brooks Catamount. You know a lot more about shoes than I do. Like, I don't wear whatever shoe I get, really.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, Frank Shorter would actually give me shoes. And so I got whatever shoe company was sponsoring him at the time. And so I've worn a lot of New Balance and other things. So thank you, Frank Shorter, for getting me those expensive shoes. His son was one of my best friends growing up.
That's awesome. You guys grew up together?
Yeah, we grew up together. We ran track and cross country together. Yep. That's
awesome. Well, congratulations. You passed the quickie question quiz.
Yay!
I'd say that's like an A+ effort. He did quite well.
I mean, breakfast burritos and dinner burritos were answers in there.
That gave him the extra credit points.
Does that count as cheating or does that count as comedy?
Bonus. It's bonus points. Yeah. Bonus. If you can use the same answer for 2 different questions, I mean, that's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
Ryan, I want to give you the chance to shout out anything that you need to for people to follow, to subscribe to the book, anything that you want to let people know of how they can find you, follow you, support you. This is that moment.
Oh, God. My name is Ryan Van Duzer. I have a YouTube channel, and go subscribe. I don't know how to do this.
The panic.
That was the best one.
It was the best. But what I love is the panic in the voice.
I have 3 seconds. I don't know. I'm easy to find. YouTube is just Ryan Van Duzer. Instagram, all that stuff. If you want to watch content that makes you feel better about the world, then yeah, give my channel a look.
Fantastic. You know what to do, GR crew. Please go thank Ryan Van Duzer for being on the show and support him in any way that you can. Support him by subscribing to his YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Ryan Van Duzer. There is some fantastic content there that will, honestly, you'll be able to spend days and days and days just enjoying life a little bit more, watching his stuff. That's going to wrap up our episode 400. We've been doing this now, 400 episodes live. We are so thankful for the crew for the support all of these years. And just a reminder, if you would like to support us beyond just watching, we would love to have you join the GR crew. You can go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. All tiers get access to our perks, including our daily live stream. We call it Daily Brew. We get to chat about everything with a little bit of running sprinkled in there, and it's been super fun. We're almost at 600 episodes of that. I mean, we have joke contests during that. We do, what else did we recently? I find hills to build and die on. It's pretty cool.
I taste chips from around the world.
It's true. Probably 90% of recent Daily Brew episodes.
Around the world, I mean Those are from the East Coast.
90% of the content has been chip eating. You're not going to want to miss it. Hard-hitting stuff. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in tonight's episode. We very, very, very much appreciate it. We're going to move right into the after show with Ryan and a special video created by Jean-Yves, GR crew member extraordinaire. And we don't know what that video is all about, but we're going to go watch it in the after show. GR crew member of the week. Do we have one?
Yes.
We have a segment on the show that we like to wrap up the episode with, and that is recognizing members of the community. We call it our GR Crew Member of the Week. People who go above and beyond, get out there, challenge themselves, and find success. Kim, who is this week's GR Crew Member?
This week's GR Crew Member of the Week is a very special GR Crew Member of the Week, and his name is Ethan Newberry. Making you the GR Crew Member of the Week because without you doing all of these 400 shows, the GR Crew would not exist.
I get to be GR Crew Member?
It's the first time you've been GR Crew Member of the Week.
I mean, actually, my heart, like, melt.
Angry?
No, made my heart ice cold. No, that actually, like, warmed.
Grinch heart?
No, just warmed my soul a little bit. I really appreciate that. I think it's illegal.
Happy 400.
It's against the rules, but I'll thank you.
I make the rules in this house.
I never thought, however many years ago when we did episode 1, I did episode 1, the pilot episode from a garage.
Yeah.
With shitty internet and a clamp light.
And here we are, still in a garage.
Still in a garage with.
Just looks a little different.
Yeah, the clamp lights are still clamp lights, but they have color. They're blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've definitely stepped it up in 7 years. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into tonight's episode. We'll see you in the after show, or we'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you this week. But again, go subscribe to Ryan Van Duzer on YouTube. Show him some love. We truly, truly love him and thank him for being on the show. Thanks, all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. Get out there, train hard, race harder, and party the hardest. I know I am. Bye.
Bye.
Ginger runners.